Hello. Welcome to Step 5 of Part 3 in a three-part tutorial series on how to write a philosophy essay. Part 3 is dedicated to a detailed step-by-step guide to writing a philosophy essay and is more technical than Parts 1 and 2. But we have left the most technical steps behind. Each lesson in Part 3 covers one of the steps of the 6 steps in writing a philosophy essay. While you can watch the lessons independently from one another, or in any order you wish to watch them, each of them assume that you have either watched the previous ones or have sufficient knowledge of the area they cover. In the previous lessons, we covered the first 4 steps of writing a philosophy essay. Reading the text carefully in order to identify the arguments. Evaluating those arguments for truth of their premises and validity of their structure. Planning the essay according to whether we agree with the thesis of the text or not, and writing the first draft in 3 sections: introduction, body, and conclusion. In this short lesson, I shall stress the importance of revising and what to look out for when revising. To write a good philosophy paper, you should revise it several times. It is rare that one writes a good philosophy paper without 3 or 4 revisions, or even more. But whatever you do, revise it at least once. Revision is an entirely different activity from proofreading, which is a separate step that I address in the next lesson. Both revision and proofreading are important but must not be confused with one another, although some experienced writers can sort of do both simultaneously. Well, sometimes. The best method to make a good revision is to first read the assignment questions over again, and then to read your draft aloud to yourself at your normal pace of speaking. This will help you tell whether you have answered the assignment question. Perhaps you wandered away from the main question. Or you may know what you want to say, but when you read it aloud to yourself, you might realize that it doesn't come across as you thought it was going to. When you read aloud, you will also get a better feel for where your paragraph breaks should be. And most important, when you read aloud, you will also find yourself exclaiming, as James Pryor puts nicely, "Does this really make sense?" That's totally unclear. That sounds pretentious. What does that mean? What's the connection between these 2 sentences? Am I just repeating myself here? And finally, how is that relevant to the discussion? These sorts of questions are normal because you are, in a sense, having a conversation with your previous self, the one who wrote the essay, and you're being critical of that essay the same way you were critical of the reading that was given to you for your assignment. Another advantage of reading aloud is that you might just hear yourself committing a logical fallacy in the essay. Logical fallacies are sometimes hard to spot because they are often based on bad habits of thinking. But if you say your thoughts out aloud, you may notice that something about your line of thought is suspicious. How to recognize and avoid logical fallacies is a subject that is outside the scope of this tutorial series. You can find excellent video and print tutorials on the topic, and I recommend you watch or read several of them until recognizing these fallacies becomes second nature to you. I can't emphasize enough how knowledge of these fallacies will also help you tackle many problems in your work, personal, social, and political life. Back to our list. This checklist is a good thing to have nearby when you are revising. I will not go over each item, since all of these apply to every kind of writing, and it is a skill you will acquire elsewhere. Once you have made note of all the places that need revising and rewriting, you might find that you need to return to the original article that your assignment was based on. If you remember, in step 1 of this guide, reading the article 3 times was the rule. Once quickly, once carefully, taking notes, and once selectively, focusing on certain passages. Now, this is a very good time to do a fourth reading of the selected passages. It's also a good time to touch base with the assignment question once again. Again, it's your last chance to make sure you have answered the question or questions. No less than the questions and no more. Cut out superfluous parts. So, you have revised your essay, ideally more than once. You are ready to hand the essay in, right? No, no, no. Never without proofreading. In the last lesson of part 3 of this tutorial, I shall guide you through this final step of writing a philosophy essay.